Want to see that again? Pretty nifty, huh? What was I going to say? Welcome to the Writer's Life, place where you the sight, sound, smell, taste from my particular writer's life, where you get the truth about the writer's life as I see it, as I live it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Punch the like button, tap the bell for notifications, so you don't miss out on one exciting video. Turn the air off for a second. I got the fan on. I actually don't like air conditioning, except at night when I am in my slumber. I just rather go with the fresh natural air. But the heat has come back, right? It's summer. I have my Beatles t-shirt on. I got the stacked orange. It's summer's here. Things slow up a little bit, all that stuff. So the books, go to vincandrew.com to grab all the new thrillers. Passion Play's out there for all you people who like that type of hard-boiled noir, steamy noir mystery series. Right now it's available only on Kindle Select. But I'll go wide eventually. And get White Wedding, which is doing great. And White Wedding, I just found out, is going to be featured in ITW's The Big Thrill in July. So that's exciting. Thank you, ITW, again. You continue to be very, very good to me. International thriller writers. By the way, they're open for submissions now for the 2025 awards. Ooh, it's dusty. I strongly encourage you, whether you're indie or traditional or a hybrid like me, to make sure you have at least one book that's nominated, or story, or novella. And you never know, you could win it. Very prestigious award. I still get tingles when I see that thing. And the Shamus Award. For the same book, best paperback original, for Moonlight Weeps. All right, so far this year, it's a slow month, but it's okay. To be expected when the kids get out of school. And I believe, let's see, I'm a little stuffed up because I was outside, working outside, and I don't have any Sudafed right now. So my allergies are acting up. See, isn't this exciting? You're already like snoozing, I bet. Let's see what the best sellers are so far this month. Ooh, I'm doing all right today. Royalties are piling in. White Wedding. No, that's today. The Remains. Go figure. That's the award for selling 100,000 copies that Thomas and Mercer gave me. White Wedding comes in second. The Ashes, the second in the Rebecca Underhill trilogy. So there's The Remains, then The Ashes. And I'm currently writing The Bones. 10,000 words into it. And look for The Squatters coming out hopefully by the end of the month. Hopefully. Seems like there's never enough time in the day I'm like reading through it, before it gets edited. So Wayne, if you're out there, get ready to get that one, have that one in your email box. And I got to get the cover going. So I was watching this very interesting video. This guy, Mike Beato, he's a professional musician and a teacher and a theorist and all that sort of stuff. Rock and roll, just an encyclopedic knowledge of rock and roll and other types of music. My buddy Tim turned me on to him, and Tim, who also has an encyclopedic knowledge of rock and roll. So if he says this guy's good, he's good. Anyway, he had Mike Mills from the bass player from REM, remember? He had him on as a guest. God, I've met Mike Mills a couple of times when he was very young, and I was very young because let's see, he had to be in his early 20s. He's like 5 years older than me, so um, I met him right around the time their second album, full album, came out because they had an EP, and then Murmur, their first album, then Reckoning was their second album. If I am correct, somebody correct me if I'm not. And he was just, I remember him being very smart, very kind, and very nice then. And they were just playing, I think they had gone from playing clubs then to playing like a little bit larger venues, like 2,500 seats, something like that. But then after the show, they would automatically go over to a club, like where I used to go to the club in Providence, Rhode Island, called the Living Room, and I would play there sometimes. And yeah, they showed up, just the whole band, just to listen to this other band that was from Georgia, I guess, because that's where they hail from. Anyway, stop rambling, Vince. Anyway, they were so business savvy right off the bat with their IP, intellectual property, that when they signed with IRS, the top independent label in the world, I think. I don't know if it still is. I don't even know if it still exists. But back then, if you got on the IRS label, which one of the Copeland brothers ran. There's Stuart, Tim, correct me if I'm doing this right. There's Stuart Copeland, who was in the Police, the drummer. There's Ian Copeland, who was a producer, I guess. And then there was the other Copeland, one of whom's dead now, who ran like the record companies or whatever. And their father was a spook for the CIA. And so, they had like IRS, get it? The IRS. And they had something else, and then they had the police, right? So get little play on whatever, play on dad's work. Anyway, when they signed with IRS was probably going to give them, I don't know how much a good advance for an independent band would have been back then, but REM almost right off the bat, really, they were hot on college radio. There used to be a thing called college radio, folks, believe it or not, and they would play cutting edge music. Stuff you wouldn't hear on regular FM. Do you even know what FM is? Half of you probably don't. I still remember when you got your rock and roll music on AM radio. Most of you don't know what that is. I had a transistor radio back when I was a boy. Anyway, so they probably were going to offer them an advance of like 50 grand or something like that, I can bet, which was real big money back in the day. Back at say 80, 81. But they would refuse to take advances. Why? Because they wanted total creative control, number one. They don't want anybody telling them what to do. And two, they didn't want to owe anybody anything. Because when you get an advance, you are expected to earn it out. You are expected to pay it back. And all too often, if you don't earn it out and you say, well, I want my manuscript back, or in this case, I want my tape masters back. They're going to say, well, then pay us what you owe us from the advance you didn't earn out. And that could be tens of thousands of dollars. It could be hundreds of thousands of dollars. Tom Petty found himself in this very same position back in the 70s. Around the time he made like American Girl and stuff like that. And he wanted to get his masters back from this one record company he was with. And he wanted to go to another company. I believe that's the story. Not realizing at the time he should have just been publishing the stuff himself, but people didn't do that then. And they were like, you owe us hundreds of thousands of dollars. That was back then. And he said, therefore, I'm bankrupt. So he declared bankruptcy. I don't know what came of it. Eventually Tom Petty took off big time, and I'm sure he got his stuff back. But the REM was so smart at the time for being young. They knew enough in terms of business that it was important to maintain the intellectual, to maintain the the integrity of their intellectual property. Um, and they did that right off the bat. And I don't think, at least the way Mike Mills was talking about it, I don't think they finally accepted in advance until Warner Brothers Music, which is a major label. I think they offered them something like one of the biggest deals ever for back in '86 of like $6 million or something like that. It was a fairly untold or unseen amount up until that time. That's how popular they were getting. And for some reason, this is neither here nor there, but for some reason, when bands become popular that I enjoyed on the independent level, when they become popular, I don't like them anymore. I don't know what that is. I shift to something else. But some of the records I liked, but they accepted that advance and they earned it out. They earned out every single advance up until an album they did called Monster, which came out after grunge exploded. And it was sort of their grunge album, but it didn't quite, they were older now. They were in their mid to late 30s. Ooh. And, it wasn't quite didn't have that quite that grunge bite that the kids in their 20s were putting out. So anyway, so that album did not earn out, as I understand it. And so that this is appropriate for the writer's life, about 99% of all writers who receive large advances do not earn out their advance. My first advance was $250,000. I think I earned about $10,000 of it. That was it for 2 books. And they still give me my rights back, though. It was a miracle. And this is just before the independent thing was really taken off. And then I re-signed with another label, a smaller label that was very ebook friendly. And I was like, ebooks. And it sold, the book that didn't sell with Delacorte suddenly sold 100,000 copies in a month. And the irony is I would have earned out my advance had they done it right. I think the big thing was I changed the title back to The Innocent from As Catch Can. I've talked about that before. And much better cover, much better presentation. And it was timely. I was at the right place at the right time. And that means so much. People are always like, well, how do you become successful in this business? Aside from making the right decisions, but making the right decisions will only take you so far. You have to be in the right place at the right time, at the right, with the right material, and sprinkle a bunch of luck on that. And maybe, just maybe, you will become a success. It's a crapshoot, ladies and gentlemen, a total crapshoot. The best you can hope for. And this was something else Mills pointed out. He said the difference between now and when he was young is that there really is no more rock and roll superstardom. I mean, you have like pop stars like Taylor Swift or Lana Del Rey or something like stuff. I'm not interested in. I like some Lana Del Rey a little bit, but that's like those are pop stars, and their music is largely manufactured, and it's that kind of thing. I really don't know what kind of talent these people possess, but true talent. But I mean, in terms of a rock band, he just basically said now with the internet, things are more democratized, and you can make a nice living becoming a musician, putting out some records, touring the clubs, doing that sort of thing. You won't get rich, but you'll make a nice living. And what have I been saying about writing? The age of superstardom's over. Like the Hemingways and the Norma Mailers and whoever. Like, I mean, occasionally something like that'll happen, but But for the most part, all you can hope for is to make a really nice living. And so long as you're prolific, the more prolific you are, the luckier you will be. And all you can hope for is just steady sales that accumulate and grow and grow and grow along with your library. That's the best you can hope for. And luckily, I am prolific and I'm good. You got to be good. If you suck, forget about it. All right, that's all I got for you today. Maybe we'll have a guest this week, maybe not. I wanted to have Troy Lambert, but he is currently spending the summer touring all over the West. And he's like in his car, living out of his car. I mean, he stays in hotels and stuff like that. But he is, remember, he's the Der Führer of the Idaho Writers Guild. So he's a very busy man. Plus, he's got his writing business to take care of. So anyway, we'll see who we have. Maybe I got to get Kristen back on. I got to get Uncle Harvey back on. I got to get who else? Well, there's a bunch of others. Anyway, it's hot, but that's the way it's supposed to be in the summer, right?